Well, hello my lovelies, and welcome back to Kickback Now, this is episode number 2 in me attempting to fit the Casa Performance disc brake. I had a couple of things I had to mess around with, but anyway, go grab a coffee, I'll roll the intro or whatever I do, and we'll talk about that afterwards. Messing around with these cameras, batteries going flat.
Markerte det med regn, alle sprang I lag og ville komme under tak. Ingen av oss merket at du hadde falt I frak, for valgte du å dra. Hvem I faen kunne se den komme, da høsten tok over, sa vi hadde bradlet oss sommer.
Right, I've sort of installed the disc loosely. As you saw in the last episode, I had to modify the links. So I've used quite a bit of time on this, which is a bit annoying. But that's life. Such is life. I've done that. I fit this without the hub so that I could line up the anti-dive bracket so that's straight and tighten that down. I've got it on loose here because I have removed the master cylinder. And that's my noisy son on his supermoto. Let me just let him in. Vad blir det? Länge sedan sist? Shrek Cellular. What was I saying? I've done that, yeah, I've lined it all up, the hub's off, the caliper is off just to make it easy for me to bleed it. So now I'm really going into the bleeding process. One issue that I found was, let me do some wobbly cam. One issue that I found was the screws for the light switch. They bottom out on the two screws that hold this light switch and master cylinder holder jobby. So I had to shorten those. And that's about it, really, I think. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll take off the top of the master cylinder. And we'll bleed the system before I do anything else. Oh, one thing while I've got you up here. The root of the cable is pretty good. There's some notches in the headset top. I'm going to show you those afterwards. But I'm going to have to sort that out as well somehow. But we'll have a look at that once I've bled it. So what I've done is I've adjusted the master cylinder because this is adjustable angle-wise. Just loosened 2 screws on the switch. What's it called? Switch holding bracket thingy, what's-a-majig. That'll do, that sounds good. Anyway, loosen those 2 screws and angle it so that I can get to the master cylinder here. And I just need to find the correct size hex key. And I can remove those screws on the master cylinder. Ah, yes. They're not hex, they are Torx. And that actually is pretty normal on mountain bikes that have got Formula disc brakes on. Where is my Torx thingamajig? You'll have to excuse the background noise. I have got my little oven on again. It's that time of year when it's starting to get pretty cold. So the top needs to come off. Obviously, have to take off the gasket. What's-a-majig as well. I got my wife to go out and grab some .4. Odin, he sent me some. But if you've seen any of my brake bleeding videos, you'll know that I really don't like to use half open .4 because that sort of what's it called? There's some fancy word for when it absorbs water, and that's what that does. So I always like to use new oil. Incidentally, what I've done is I have fit my vacuum bleeding what's-a-majig on the bottom there, but I just use it as a receptacle because I actually prefer not to use the vacuum method. I actually prefer to pump it through. Just don't get this all over the scoop, Mr. Rob. I'm just going to see if I can pump that down. absolutely nothing is happening, and that's because I need to open the nipple on the caliper. Incidentally, can I point you down there? Yeah, sort of. Incidentally, on this Casa Performance, the new type one, this cool. I'm not sure if you can, I hope you can see it well. I just don't want to agitate my bar and get dot fluid all over the place. We have to crack that open. There you go. And I've actually got a spanner between the brake pad, and I'm using that spanner to hold the it's quite a balancing act. Oh, I hate doing this job alone. And as you can see, this is my receptacle, and I've just put a bit of hose on the bleed nipple. I'm just going to see if I can pump that through. Lots of air bubbles. I think I'm just pulling air bubbles up the top, so I'm going to have to do it in the traditional way. Pushing it. Closing the nipple and releasing. There we go. Crack it open. Let's hope it goes through now. Well, the lever feels pretty solid already. That's probably one of the easiest brakes I've bled, to tell you the truth. What I did there right at the end was I turned the caliper upside down, and just so that I could get rid of the very last little bit of air inside the caliper there. But it feels good even before I put the top cap on here. So let's bolt it all back down again. Hygroscopic. Is it hygroscopic? The word I'm looking for? When stuff absorbs water? I think it's hygroscopic. Hydroscopic. Something like that. I'm sure someone will put me right. Right, let's give it a feel. Oh, that's nice. Incidentally, when I bled it, I put the reach adjust all the way out. I'm not sure if it makes any difference, to be honest, but that's what I always do on mountain bikes. So, ooh, feels nice. Feels pretty progressive, that does. Obviously, the spanner that I've got in the caliper isn't as thin as the disc itself. But anyway, right, so what's the next job? So what I think I'll do now is whip off the old disc hub, put on a rim, which incidentally is the it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? He's bought himself the new BGM 8-stud jobbies, the same as the FA Italia Casa Performance ones, in a shiny black matte, and these were already fit when he bought them fit and finished. It's incidentally the new BGM race type tires. They look really cool, super duper cool. Nice. Let's get these puppies on. So I'll lift this bracket up like this to obviously take out spanner, fit the caliper to these post mount bolts, like so, because I don't need, now that I've already bled it, it's a bit of a tight fit there. Why is it not going on properly? I'll have to press it on with the use of the screws. Put a bit of Loctite on those, I reckon. Just the blue one. Lovely jubbly. Incidentally, I'm not quite sure if I said it on the last video, but I have, if you follow my fingers now, I have notched the lower race here. Well, it's not a race. What is it? A dust cover at the bottom of the fork there, so I can slot this little rubber in there. But before I do that properly, I am going to remove the disc. This is when I bugger it up and drop it. What I'm trying to do now here is just release those retaining washers. So this should drop out a little easier. Ah, come on. Oi. There we go. Something like that. Put the wheel on. Put the wheel on. Right, one to watch here is the fact that he's bought the BGM rims, but when I, just let me demonstrate a little bit here. I'll tighten down the BGM nut there. That's tightened all the way in. But as you can see, or maybe not, how can I angle this so you can see it? The stud, the nut bottoms out on the stud on the Casa Disk. So it's really important that when you fit these, that you do not use the BGM FA Italia nuts, but you use the longer and a little bit more fancy Casa Performance ones. Well, luckily, is that a word? My goodness. Luckily, I'm on the whiskey, by the way. I'm on the whiskey. Luckily for you guys, my battery's died on my camera. That's pretty normal this time of year when it's getting a little bit chilly out in the garage. But as you can see, this beautiful thing is now mounted on the fork. What else have I done? I've also he wanted to fit a thumb choke lever, and I've done that. And I also made a small bracket for a Trial Tech temp gauge. If I angle it up a little bit, you can't see that, can you? You can't see that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw some photos up of the Casa Performance disc there, and the wheel and all that set up there, and I'll show you a bit around the bracket as well. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good, and I'm really pleased to say that it feels like there's quite a progressive feel on the lever. It doesn't feel grabby. I can just feel it bite in, and then you can give it a good squeeze afterwards. So it's pretty similar, I think, to my BGM setup. So I'm really looking forward to get this out on the road and giving it a bit of a whiz. Looks brilliant. Really, really easy to fit. Well, yeah. It's easy to fit. There's no fiddling really, but there is a little bit of fettling. You've got to get this right. I've added a little bracket here for the holes. I do that on all my setups. It's just so that just a bit of a reassurance, so that the cable doesn't touch the wheel. So that's what I normally do. As you can see as well, we also fitted the new BGM fancy smancy shocks, which will be exciting to test. It did seem, when I took out the link there, it did seem that he had the MB progressive springs. I'm not very keen on those on this sort of setup, but because of that little tool that we've got, the old what's it called? The K2 scooters tool to remove the fork spring. I'm not really too worried about that, because if this proves to be a little bit harsh, it's really just an hour's job, really, just to take out the spring and fit something more suitable. I think maybe even standard. Personally, I think I'd probably put in a BGM with 10%, but that's quite dependent on how these shocks work. If they're a bit harsh as well, or sporty, then it could be a little bit too stiff. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of horsepower going in this engine. What I'm going to do now, well, actually, on the video, I'm going to do nothing except for babble a little bit longer. What I'm going to be doing while the camera is off is I'll be fitting this. It's just so bright, that light of mine. If I can angle it like, there you go, you can see it there. SLJ. It's the wonderful Scooty Loopy John quick action throttle. I'll be fitting that. I have fit a new speedo cable on there, so hopefully the drive works well on this brake. Well, that's another thing to test. I also have to plug in these two wires here, which I wasn't quite sure where I was supposed to put it. I've asked a grown-up. I asked the boys at Rimini. One of these goes to the brown wire, this one, voila, into the horn. And the other one, I'm going to have to make an extension lead, and I'm going to plug that into the pink on the brake pedal there. So once I've done that, and it's all plugged in, then I think I'm going to pull out this engine out of this, which is quite a quick job, and I will fit the SST 265. What I thought I would do on the next video is show you, or at least go through how I fit the new Ducati ignition system. I've never fit one of those before, so that should be interesting. So don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can buy me coffee, you can buy merch, and most important bit, do the old thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, do the subscribe as well, and I'll see you all in the next one. Okay, ta-ra.